Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is God's Magic. So today I just kind of wanted to talk about the 5 things that I do to ground myself whenever I feel like I just need that connection. And one of the things that the first thing I do is I like to take hot showers, long showers sometimes. Like if I'm feeling like I don't know how to explain, but when you're in the water and the heat is just coming off of you and you can see the steam, it just calms me down. It grounds me to where I need to be. And plus water for me, when I'm in the shower, I think of the Holy Spirit a lot and I pray for that groundment and pray for, whatever is going on to cause me to feel disconnected or sometimes when we need to ground ourselves, we have a lot of anxiety. And so whenever I'm struggling with something mental or if I'm just feeling like I need some type of latch, some type of anchor, I will take a shower because the showers help me a lot. Um, whenever I need to ground myself. But that's one ways I do it. And this is probably going to be a short life, but I'm sorry. Anyway, so the next thing that I do is I like to meditate and pray. Like if I'm feeling like so much anxiety, or if I just know that I need to balance and ground myself, a lot of times I'll put on some worship music. I will pray and I will just meditate and feel and see and visualize all in one what I need to be done in order to ground myself. And so meditation, when I enter meditation, and the reason I'm sharing this with y'all is because some of y'all can take this and use it for what you want, but I just like to share my top 5 ways. We're going to go over a deeper aspect on my Patreon. So all the ones who are on my Patreon, we'll go into a more deeper aspect next week on the way I ground myself into a deeper way and explain to you the certain things that you can do. So that's for Patreon. But um, so when I enter prayer and I have worship music on, it like clears my atmosphere around me. Like when I put worship music on, it's a different type of presence. Anything negative or anxiety or worry or stress, it leaves as soon as worship music's on, at least for my experience. And I feel very highly connected to heaven whenever I'm listening to worship music. It's so weird how I can explain it to you, but I've always been this way since I was a child. But anytime I would put on worship music, no matter what I'm going through, it just fuels me. It's like the Holy Spirit just fuels me with the hope that I need or the groundment that I need in the moment of meditation and prayer, to ground myself. But the way I set up is literally just put the worship music on and I'll just start meditating and praying. And usually by the end of my session, which usually lasts sometimes 30 minutes to an hour, I am good. I'm good. So another way I like to do it is watching comfort shows. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but when I feel that I need to ground myself and I don't want to do the first 2 options, I will go and watch my favorite shows to ground me because what I'll do is I'll lay in my bed and I'll turn on the show that I want to watch and I'll sit there and I'll allow myself to feel whatever's coming through or whatever thoughts come in my mind. I allow them to happen in the moment of watching my comfort show because my comfort show always has messages in it, no matter what it could be. Like one of my favorite shows is Touched by an Angel. If you ever heard of Pose, I definitely recommend that on Hulu. It talks about all kinds of things. Like there's spiritual experiences in the show of Pose, and I love it so much, and it resonates with me. And there's a lot of things I can understand that goes on in the show. And what I want to say is, in that show, there's a lot of messages that are being given to one another about their life lessons and battles they're going through. So when I feel like I need to ground myself and I'm watching the show, sometimes a character will say something directly to me and it instantly relieves me and grounds me so much, even just by playing the episode in the background and just sitting there and visualizing or trying to ground with crystals or whatever else I'm going to use in the moment of watching my show, because there's all parts to each step that I'm naming. So it's not just jumping in the shower on the first step. There's more to it before then. Whatever you do to prepare yourself for a ritual or prayer or whatever you're going to do, like everyone has their steps. And the way I do when I watch Pose is I literally just sit there and, like I said in the beginning, I just kind of let everything happen. So if I'm watching the show and I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, I will force myself to sit there and pay attention. No matter how loud my mind is or how like I feel today physically, I will still keep my eyes on the show and watch it. And by the 15 minutes into the episode, I have noticed that I'm completely grounded and centered and I'm completely focused on one thing. And that's how I know when I'm done with that little method of watching my show. Cause it just takes me, when you watch something, it just takes your mind off of yourself and what you're going through and puts it onto the focus of the plot and the rising action and all these things that are coming through in the show. So that's one way I like to do it. Um, let's see. Um, Another way, I'm trying to think of what else I do. Oh, I was just telling my sister this. Another way, that I find a way to ground for myself is hanging around with family or anyone that I love, period. Excuse me. And just having their company, just talking to them, us having normal conversations, us joking, laughing, hanging out, playing card games, whatever it is that has to do with family, even if it's just watching TV together or walking in nature, just being around those I love grounds me to where I need to be and helps me be centered just by having their presence around or just by talking and communicating with another person grounds me. And I don't know how to explain it, but just family grounds me and centers me when I feel that no other method could work better than being around family. Family is definitely the one that completely grounds me and centers me, and God uses a lot of them in the time I'm trying to ground. When God knows that I'm trying to ground myself to be centered, God will definitely use my loved ones in my life to be the words of inspiration or even utterances or whatever it may be that God might do in the moment where he knows I need grounding. He will use somebody to do it. He will use somebody to say something or bring a certain presence that God will allow them to have when they're around me. And it just grounds me. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like after you've had a rough day, you just want to see your family. You want to make sure everyone's okay. It's kind of like that when I just want to hang out with everyone and ground myself by everyone else's presence and ideas and games and like card games and Uno and stuff like that. So that's another way I ground myself. It was going to be another one, but I already combined it with the worship. But I will go ahead and say this one anyway. If I want to ground myself and I've already know that certain methods are not going to work this time because you feel it. Anytime you need to ground yourself, you feel what needs to be done or if it needs to be deep. If it's a simple grounding method and it's not as bad, then the simple ones. But my favorite one actually is when I feel like even jumping in the shower is not going to work. I actually just turn on worship music and I sit there and I don't do anything. I sit there and let the words play. I listen to it. Music's kind of all of our therapy, especially all of us who are spiritually connected to the spirit realm. Music is definitely a form of healing, of communication. It's a way of telling a story. It's a way of getting another perspective on someone's life. And the way I ground myself with that method is just literally letting the worship music play its list, or if it's on repeat, I let it keep on and I play it as much as needed. If I feel like I need to sit there and soak in God's presence for longer to ground myself, I will do it. And same thing in meditation. Like when I do meditation for grounding, I just sit there as long as it takes until the visualization is either cut off or I feel something lifted off. Whatever it is to ground yourself, you do you follow your intuition, you let God lead you into where you need to go for that grounding method, and trust your grounding methods because everyone's practice is different. I know that some people are going to watch this and be like, that, okay, cool. That's odd, but all right. But that's just the thing. It's my practice and what my spirit team has brought me to and showed me over the years when I would feel that I need groundment. A lot of experiences have showed me and made these my top 5 experiences and my top 5 methods for grounding, YouTube edition. Let's just say that. And so, yes, so I'll turn on worship. And I recommend Wonder by Bethel. I'll type that into the comments. Wonder. Let's see, Wonder. Let's see, Bethel. I definitely recommend Wonder by Bethel. That's one that's really good when I'm listening to worship music and I'm grounding myself. And a lot of the times I will just sit with my hands up and worship and just thank God for everything. And I just ask him to ground me, make me feel centered, to surround me with his presence and stuff like that. And that's usually what I do with the 5th grounding method, because there's a lot of simple ways you can do it. There's some people just light a candle and sit there and meditate until the candle burns out for their grounding. And that's fine. It works for you. However it works for you, you do you. I'm always going to tell you on this channel to always do you. Don't let no one tell you what's right, what's wrong, or whatever. You have your own relationship with Jesus, and you are the only one who can figure out what works for you and what doesn't. Sometimes, yes, we need guidance. We go to people that are mentors to us, or we go to people that might lead us in the right direction. But one thing is, as long as we point each other towards God where we need to go, we'll be fine with our groundment sessions, I really think that God is the most important and powerful aspect to have in your life when it comes to grounding, because I feel like if you don't have that connection, how are you supposed to ground right? And I'm not saying anything against anyone's practice. I'm saying this is for me personally. Like, that's who I have to have in my life is God, to ground me and get me where I need to be. But anyway, guys, I love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. And whoever's rewatching this later, I hope this helped you somehow. And this was supposed to be a longer live, but the methods are pretty simple and straight to the point. So I love you, and I'll see you on the next video tomorrow. I love you. Bye. Let's see. How do I end this? See, this is different than StreamYard that I used to use. It usually has my name up in the corner. This is the actual YouTube studio live. So y'all forgive me if I get on here at the end of every live and I'm like, because I don't know where the end button is. Here it is. All right. I love you. Bye. Okay. This ain't ending.